Last week in the City Council, the aldermen came under a lot of criticism, and I think justifiably so, for refusing to expand the power of their own hand-picked Inspector General to investigate them, particularly with regard to allegations that they are engaging in campaign finance violations. There was a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of sympathy for the Legislative Inspector General, Faisal Khan, who had wanted to expand his power, who has asked for more money as well. Faisal Khan was quoted last week saying that this setback shows that the City Council isn't ready for reform yet. And I do think that that's undeniably true. I don't know why he would be surprised about that. I don't think it's really a big setback for reform. I mean, the litany of ethical problems that we have at City Hall and in the City Council in particular, I don't think that this is really one of the grave injustices, basically because I don't think that the City Council's Legislative Inspector General was set up to succeed in the first place. It was really doomed to fail in the way that it was structured. From the very beginning, the aldermen set this office up because they didn't want the other Inspector General, the one who tries to keep the rest of city government honest, they didn't want him on their butts, frankly. And he was picked by some people who are not really proponents of reform. In fact, he was picked by then 33rd Ward Alderman Dick Mell, was the Rules Committee chairman at the time back in 2011. Specifically, people that we're talking about who don't think that there's any real value in having more people investigating the City Council than the feds and others who are already on their case. And so Faisal Khan came in with a difficult situation. I think Khan's running of the office, despite the fact that he has experience in this area, has been nothing more than amateurish, frankly. We have no proof whatsoever that he's been able to bring any cases to fruition. There have been no federal, no state cases, which we have seen with the other inspectors general, with Joe Ferguson and his predecessor, David Hoffman. We've had nothing like that in the 3 years that Khan has been there. We have spent a lot of money on Khan himself. He started with a budget of only $60,000. He was supposed to be part-time, and that grew to more than $350,000 a year that's budgeted for his office. And we find in city records that the vast majority of that money, more than $200,000 a year, is going straight into Mr. Khan's pocket. Now, he's hired 5 assistants, and the choice of those assistants, too, as we've written about before, really begs the question of how professional this operation is. In one case, he has someone who's been a fundraiser and a political aide, even to an alderman, one of the aldermen that they're supposed to investigate. And he allowed her, this aide named Kelly Tarrant, to go on a 10-week leave of absence to work on a political campaign. That was last year. That was for a candidate for the state house. But there were aldermen who were involved in that race, either on the same side as this assistant inspector general who was on leave, or against her. And certainly there's many aldermen who see that and think, well, maybe that will poison the well in certain cases, or maybe there are others that she is allied with that they're protecting. It's difficult to know that has happened for sure because there's very little transparency in the operations of Mr. Khan's office. I think the city would be better served to just scrap this office entirely. They never should have created it in the first place. Mr. Khan can go on with his life, and the Inspector General who regulates the rest of City Hall should be given the power to also investigate aldermen who have been fighting for decades to avoid just that scenario.